Big tech is out to get conservatives. That's not a suspicion. That's not a hunch. It's a fact. I said that 2 months ago at our last hearing. It's every bit as true today. Democrats have said that they want to take a serious look at the size, power, and influence of these companies, but they've refused our repeated request that this include an evaluation of how platforms are censoring speech. Maybe it's because the left isn't being censored. We never hear about Mother Jones being demonetized. We don't hear about Young Turk's videos being taken down. We don't hear about the Daily Kos being censored. No, this only happens to conservatives. Google tried to demonetize the Federalist. Amazon censors the Family Research Council. YouTube blocks videos from Senator Blackburn. Twitter censors the president, but they let the leader of Iran post a statement where he says they will strike a blow against American citizens. The last hearing, our concerns were dismissed as, quote, conspiracy theories, despite this mounting evidence of biased actions against conservatives. Even though you are seeking to radically rewrite antitrust laws, Silicon Valley continues to use its power to carry your water. In fact, the vast majority of political contributions from the very firms you are targeting go to Democrats. You've even denied Republicans, and more importantly, the American people, the opportunity to hear from Twitter at the last hearing held by this subcommittee. Twitter, I'll remind you, shadow banned 4 members of Congress. 435 in the House, 100 in the Senate, 535, 4. Only 4. 4 conservative Republicans get shadow banned by Twitter, but when we asked you to bring them in, you said, nope, can't do that. A root cause of big tech censoring conservatives lies with the defects in how the law governing liability online has been applied and interpreted. Rather than stimulate an open debate and free exchange of ideas, Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act has given license to platforms to target particular viewpoints, particularly, as I pointed out, those of conservatives. In fact, the otherwise objectionable, quote, otherwise objectionable provision has been abused by the platforms as a catch-all term used to discriminate against any content they find disagreeable. Congress has an obligation to ensure that the rules in place governing accountability online and providing protections for the moderation of content are applied fairly and without undue bias against certain ideologies. Today, a dozen Republican members of this committee introduced legislation to update laws governing the liability platforms could face when they insert their own opinionated editorial decisions into what content stays up and what content comes down. Our bill amends Communications Decency Act 230 to provide needed clarifications and transparent rules of the road. Importantly, we replace the vague, otherwise objectionable category with the narrowly tailored categories and make clear that decisions to remove or restrict content are immune from liability only in certain specific instances, that reasons for these editorial decisions must be made on an objectively reasonable basis, not the subjective standard that is in current law. The legislation also makes clear that decisions to remove content must actually be done in good faith based on predictable criteria. Under the new law, platforms would be required to have publicly available terms of service that state plainly how content moderation decisions are being made. And if content is taken down, the platform now must supply the provider of that content with notice explaining the basis for restricting the censorship and provide them with an opportunity to respond. This is common sense reform, and I hope, as the ranking member mentioned, I hope we can move on in a bipartisan basis. Free speech should not be a Republican or Democrat issue. It's a matter at the very heart of our democracy, and I look forward to today's discussion. I want to thank our witnesses for appearing, and I too want to thank Ranking Member Sensenbrenner, former Chairman Sensenbrenner, for his decades of work in the United States Congress for the American people. With that, I yield back.